Nobody, you, Marshall, nobody said anything to me or her. Like, even when you, Mel, y'all had conversations, Mel didn't call you a name to your face. She didn't call you a trick. She didn't call you a hoe. She didn't say you interfered with her marriage. This girl called me all of those things.
Kimmi Scott didn't just speak up this time. She pulled the entire curtain down. Not halfway, not gently, completely. And the moment she did, everything people thought they knew about LaTisha Scott started to feel uncertain. Because this wasn't just another reality TV disagreement. It wasn't one of those quick arguments that fades by the next episode. No, this felt different, heavier, more intentional. The kind of moment where silence had clearly been building for a long time, and when it finally broke, it didn't come out soft. It came out sharp. Fans were caught off guard. At first, they thought it was just tension, another clash between strong personalities. But what nobody expected was how detailed Kimmi would get, how specific she would be, and how calm she remained while saying things that could shake someone's entire image. And that's what made it uncomfortable. Because when someone yells, you can ignore it. You can call it emotion. You can dismiss it. But when someone speaks clearly, calmly, and with receipts behind their tone, you have to listen. And once people started listening, a bigger question started forming in everyone's mind. Was LaTisha really who she said she was? Or had everyone been watching a carefully managed version of the truth this whole time? Because what Kimmi revealed didn't just create drama, it created doubt. And once doubt enters the picture, nothing ever looks the same again. From the outside, everything between Kimmi Scott and LaTisha Scott once seemed balanced. Not perfect, but stable enough to exist without chaos. They weren't best friends, but they knew how to share space, navigate conversations, and maintain a level of respect that kept things from falling apart. At least, that's how it looked. Kimmi had always carried herself differently. She wasn't the loudest in the room. She didn't chase attention. She didn't need constant validation from the audience or the people around her. Instead, she moved with intention. She listened more than she spoke, and when she did speak, it usually meant something. That quiet strength became her identity. People trusted her because she didn't overreact. She didn't jump into drama for the sake of it. She observed, processed, and chose her moments carefully. LaTisha, on the other hand, had a completely different presence. She was polished, confident, very aware of how she came across, on camera and off. She understood perception in a way that made her seem in control at all times. To many viewers, she represented composure, ambition, and strength. But here's the thing about perception. It only shows what someone wants you to see. And over time, small cracks began to appear in that image. Not big enough to cause chaos, not obvious enough for everyone to notice, but enough for someone like Kimmi, someone who pays attention, to start questioning things. It started with little moments. A comment that didn't quite match the situation, a reaction that felt slightly off, conversations that sounded different depending on who was telling them. Nothing dramatic on its own, but together, they started forming a pattern. And Kimmi noticed. She always noticed. At first, she gave the benefit of the doubt. That's just who she was. She didn't jump to conclusions. She didn't assume the worst. She told herself maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe things were being taken out of context. But the moments didn't stop. They kept coming. And the more they stacked up, the harder it became to ignore the feeling that something wasn't adding up. But here's where it gets complicated. Not everything happens in front of the cameras. Behind the scenes, conversations carried a different weight. Words were said in private that didn't match what was being said publicly. Stories shifted. Loyalty felt flexible. And slowly, quietly, trust started to weaken. Not in an explosive way, in a silent way. The kind that makes you question everything without saying a word. Kimmi held it in for a long time, longer than most people would have. She chose peace over confrontation again and again, even when things didn't sit right. But peace has a limit. And once that limit is reached, it doesn't fade quietly. It breaks. The moment everything changed didn't come with a warning. It wasn't planned. It wasn't rehearsed. It happened in real time, in a space where everyone expected things to stay controlled. But emotions don't follow expectations. What started as a normal interaction quickly shifted. The energy changed. Subtle at first, then impossible to ignore. LaTisha made a comment. On the surface, it didn't seem like much. Something small, something easy to brush off. But for Kimmi, it hit differently. Because it wasn't about that one comment. It was about everything behind it. Every moment she had held in. Every time she stayed quiet. Every situation where she questioned herself instead of addressing what she felt. And in that moment, she stopped holding back. You're not being real. Simple words, but they landed heavy. The room shifted instantly. You could feel the tension tighten, like everyone suddenly realized this wasn't going to stay small. LaTisha paused. And that pause said more than any immediate reaction could. Because being called out like that, directly, publicly, it forces you to choose quickly, defend or reflect. And LaTisha chose to defend. She pushed back, questioning Kimmi's interpretation, suggesting things were being misunderstood. For a moment, it looked like she might regain control of the situation. But Kimmi didn't let it slip. She stayed calm. That was the difference. No yelling, no chaos, just clarity. And then she started connecting the dots, one moment after another. Comments, conversations, situations that individually might have seemed small, but together told a completely different story. A story of inconsistency, of saying one thing and doing another, of presenting one version publicly while moving differently behind the scenes. And what made it even more uncomfortable? Kimmi wasn't guessing, she was remembering. Detail after detail came out in a way that felt too specific to dismiss, too clear to ignore. And suddenly, the narrative started shifting, not just in the room, but with the audience watching. Because when someone presents information calmly, without exaggeration, without emotion taking over, it forces people to listen differently. It forces them to think. LaTisha tried to hold her ground. She questioned the timing, the intention, even the accuracy of what was being said. But something had already changed. Because now, it wasn't just about defending herself, it was about protecting her image. And that's a much harder battle. The room grew heavier with every word. Other cast members watched closely, unsure whether to step in or stay silent. Because moments like this don't just stay between two people, they ripple outward. And once that ripple starts, there's no stopping it. Clips of the confrontation spread quickly. Fans replayed every second, analyzing tone, body language, even the pauses between words. Social media lit up. Some people stood firmly behind Kimmi, praising her for finally speaking her truth and refusing to stay silent any longer. They saw strength in her calm delivery, honesty in her details. Others defended LaTisha, arguing that she was being unfairly targeted, that things were being blown out of proportion, that context was missing. But here's the truth. Situations like this are never simple. There's no clear line between right and wrong. Only perspectives, only experiences, only truths that don't always match. But what made this moment different was the feeling that something had been exposed, something that couldn't be easily explained away. And that's what kept people talking. Even after the cameras stopped rolling, the tension didn't disappear. It followed them into interviews, into social media, into every interaction that came after. Nothing felt casual anymore. Every word mattered. Every silence carried meaning. For Kimmi, the moment was both freeing and heavy. She had finally said what she had been holding in for so long. She had drawn a line, made her position clear, and stood in it without hesitation. But speaking your truth publicly comes with a cost. Now, she wasn't just seen as calm and composed. She was seen as bold, unfiltered, even confrontational. And once people place you in that category, it changes how they see everything you do moving forward. For LaTisha, the impact hit differently. Her image, something she had carefully maintained, was now under a microscope. Fans started revisiting old episodes, reanalyzing past conversations, looking for signs they might have missed. Every moment became evidence. Every expression became a clue. And that kind of scrutiny doesn't fade quickly. It lingers. It follows you. It reshapes your narrative whether you like it or not. But beyond the public reaction, there was something deeper at stake. These aren't just cast members. These are real people with real relationships, real emotions, real consequences. Friendships were tested, trust was shaken, and the space they once shared comfortably no longer felt the same. Because once doubt enters a relationship, it doesn't just leave. It stays. It grows. It changes everything. And what made it even more complicated? There was no escape. The show continued. The cameras kept rolling, and every new interaction carried the weight of what had already happened. There was no reset button, no clean slate, just tension, waiting to either be resolved or pushed even further. And that's what made this moment so powerful. It wasn't just an argument, it was a turning point. A moment that forced everyone, both inside the situation and watching from the outside, to look deeper, to question what they thought they knew, to accept that sometimes the truth isn't simple. It's layered, messy, uncomfortable. Because what Kimmi exposed wasn't just about LaTisha. It was about perception, the gap between what's shown and what's real. And once that gap becomes visible, you can't unsee it. As everything begins to settle, one thing becomes clear. This story isn't over. Because moments like this don't end when the conversation stops. They evolve. They shape what comes next. They influence every future interaction, every decision, every relationship moving forward. And if there's one thing we've learned from situations like this, it's that truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how long it's been held back. The real question now isn't who was right. It isn't who was wrong. It's something much deeper. What happens when the version of someone you believed in starts to change? And once that change begins, can anything ever go back to the way it was? Or is this just the beginning of something even bigger? Because one thing is certain. When silence finally breaks like this, it doesn't whisper. It echoes.